Good afternoon, beautiful people. As most of you have already seen, there was a video going around of Dr. Umar addressing some apparent issues within the so-called conscious community. And first I would like to say I understand that Dr. Umar asked that women not take place in this conversation, and he asked that women allow the men to come together and handle this amongst themselves. And honestly, it seems a little sexist, but I would have no problem doing that if I recognized any manhood, and my womanhood does not recognize any manhood. After this video, I would like to have a discussion amongst my followers. But for right now, this is addressed directly to Dr. Umar Johnson or Ifatunde, whatever you're going by now. Even if you never see this, I would like for your followers to understand what happened and what's been happening for a very long time. First of all, Doctor, you are the type of man that my father warned me about. You are the type of man that my father made sure that I did not involve myself with. And while you know you have a lot of knowledge and you can regurgitate things and you're very charismatic and you can say things that sounds like sweet music to people's ears, you have an evilness inside of you that is only paralleled by the white supremacy that you claim to be fighting. There is a vileness inside of you that when I look into your eyes, it is devoid of humanity. It is devoid of soul. It's devoid of empathy. And that troubles me at its core. The fact that your objective, your main purpose, what you've been surrounding yourself by for the last 2 years, has been to influence the minds of young black children. My children could not hang with your children. You could not influence my sons. I would never want my sons to be like you, and I would never want my daughters to be with a man like you. I've spoken many times on how much of a following you have and how often you contradict the very things that you say that you stand for by your actions. And this, Doctor, was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my entire life. In my entire life, I am so disappointed. I am so disgusted. The fact that you use black empowerment or this movement or consciousness or this fight against oppression as a crutch to uplift yourself. Have you no shame? Have you no shame whatsoever? Do you have any idea why you're really doing this? Or are you tricking everybody else? You're speaking, you went through the video and you were clearly not. I only got 30 minutes in. I couldn't take anymore. I couldn't take anymore. It was an assault on my soul. It was an assault on my soul, and I couldn't take anymore. It was very clear from the first moment that you spoke that you were not in control of your emotions. And it was very obvious to me, Mr. Doctorate of Psychology, that somebody is pulling your strings. Somebody hyped you up. Somebody influenced you. Somebody said, "You're not going to take that, are you?" Somebody hyped you up to the point where you embarrassed yourself in front of the people that believed in you. And your true nature came out. You disrespected this black man on his color. Now you have separated all light-skinned people from your movement. Now all of us light-skinned people know. We know how you feel about us now. You disrespected his height. Now all short black men know how you feel about them now. You have separated yourself from your people, all because you felt the need to display this hyper-masculine behavior to save face. If you are indeed a leader of black empowerment, then you must have black power. I saw nothing but weakness. You can't lead me. You can't lead my children. I would never put you in a position to teach my babies, because they are supposed to be better than that. They are supposed to be better than what you exhibited. 45 minutes of hatred, 45 minutes. And then after the 27-minute mark, you want to talk about how school children in Missouri will be charged with a felony if they are found to be fighting. Where in your mind do you challenge a man to fight and then complain when babies are fighting? You challenged him to a fight, even though he never offered physical violence to you. You challenged him to a fight, and then not 2 minutes later, you say that it's not fair for our children to be convicted of felonies when they fight, but you want to be in charge of our babies. I've never been so disgusted, disappointed in my entire life. I have never been more disgusted or disappointed in my entire life. Your hypermasculinity is toxic. And furthermore, let me tell y'all something. I'm not going to take it to the point that he took it, but I will let you know what I saw. Dr. Umar Ifatunde, Dr. Umar Johnson, whatever your name really is, whether you have a doctorate or not, let me tell you what this non-doctorate wielding, having human being read. I read you too. And all of those characteristics that you were displaying were not characteristics of manhood. Those were not characteristics of a leader. Those were not characteristics of someone who should have a following. This was the most effeminate shit I've ever seen in my entire life. That was effeminate. You were displaying feminine characteristics while carrying on this hyper-masculine battle over a live video. Those characteristics were very much of a teenage black girl on the street. Very much so. It's not to be respected. So here's where I stand. Here's where I stand with you. I will never support you. I will never follow you. You have lost all of my respect. While I believe even with someone as few followers as I have, I should be questioned. I should be held accountable for my actions. I should be held accountable for my words, the things that I say, the things that I put out in public, the things that I do. I should be held accountable to those things. And I do not mind when people hold me accountable or ask me questions. That's fine. I'll do that. But I also don't position myself as leader. I also don't position myself as the head of a movement that is more akin to Medusa than Jesus. Multiple heads, multiple leaderships, not just one. But while I agree wholeheartedly with asking questions, look at what you did, man. Look at what you've done. Look at what you've done. I'm looking at your actions. Last year, when that conscious stripper thing came out, when you were lying to the people and saying that you were celibate. I don't know why you would lie. I don't understand. I don't know why you think that you would be less respected because you were having sex. But in your head, Mr. Psychologist, that was a source of shame to you. Your humanness, your sexuality, your manliness, your manhood, your sharing of a spirit and a body, energy with somebody is a source of shame to you. So you felt the need to lie about something that people do on a regular basis. You felt the need to deceive the people that are supposed to believe in you. And then when it came out that you were having sex with this stripper, this conscious stripper, you demeaned her. You threw her under the bus. You called her out of her name. Whore, harlot, slut, tramp. You called her those names, but yet still you shared the same bed with her. So what does that make you? And I still gave you an opportunity. I still was willing to hear you out because people make mistakes, because people can be questioned, because things like that happen where we are not perfect, where we are human. I was still willing to hear you out. But even in your damn video, you gonna answer the phone like you was talking to somebody, but it ringed once it put up to your ear. You are a fraud. You are a deceiver. You are a liar, and you cannot be trusted. You cannot be trusted with my mind. You can't be trusted with words. You can't be trusted with my children. Never, never, never. You can't be trusted. There is, like I said when I first started this video, there is an evil that comes from you. There is an evil that comes from you, from your soul, from the look of in your eyes. There is deception. There is no purity. There is an evilness that comes from you, and I recognize it, and I see it, just like I would see it with any white supremacist that basically touts the same rhetoric that you do. You use capitalism as a way to demean him. And I don't even know what he said. He might be guilty of all the things that you claim that he's guilty of. But you use the very system in which that you said you preach, you write. The very same system that you say you want to destroy, you used it to demean your brother. You use colorism to demean your brother. You use capitalism and finance to demean your brother. You are a joke of cosmic quality. I don't recognize the manhood in you. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe women folk, womanhood should allow men and manhood to be men with their manhood. The same for women. Allow women to be women with their womanhood. And maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. A woman can't train a boy to be a man in the way that a man can. But the woman in me does not recognize the man in you. My womanhood does not recognize your manhood. The woman in me sees something really deceitful inside of you. It sees the most dangerous man that I have seen in a very long time. And while we're focusing on Donald Trump being the president, you are trying to teach our children. You are trying to infiltrate our children's brains with colorism and capitalism, the values of money, the values of charisma and cutting of the jib. Those are the values that you are trying to instill. And it is dangerous. And it is dangerous. You are volatile. Your masculinity, your faux masculinity is toxic. And it has no place in this. It has no place in this. You have no place talking to my sons or my daughters. No place. You have no place giving these lost black men out here desperate for validation. You have no place trying to instill manhood within them. And just like the other week, when I caught a video of you telling black men to claim their alpha characteristics, claim their alpha position as men, you are dead ass wrong for doing that. Because you don't know what it means to be an alpha man. Being an alpha man doesn't mean you're 6'3". Being an alpha man doesn't mean you talk the loudest in the room. Being an alpha man doesn't mean that you are the smartest in the room. It doesn't mean that. You don't have to beat on your chest, literally beat on your chest to convince somebody of your manhood. That's not a man. That's not a woman either. I'm highly disappointed. I am highly disgusted. I do not trust you. I do not believe a word that you say. I don't want anything from you. I don't want to take part in anything that you have. You know, I was thinking, I still respected you. I respected you. You have no idea the damage that you've done. You have no idea the damage that you've done. You have no idea how much you have done. And you don't even care. You don't even care. And that's what's the most dangerous thing about you. You are a sociopath. Classic narcissist. And what you are releasing into the black community, who is desperate for validation. We are desperate for representation. What you are releasing into our community is poison. It's going to get you killed. Manhood does not equal thughood. Manhood does not equal who has the biggest chest. Alpha men don't compete. Real men don't compete. You don't have to compete. If you are sure in yourself and the feet that are planted on the ground and the knowledge and wisdom that is in your brain, nobody brings you to that point where you feel inferior. No one can bring that out of you. Because if you are the man that you claim to be, nobody could ever convince you otherwise. Nobody could ever convince you otherwise. That's all I have to say about that. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say directly to you. Now, I'm going to go live after this, y'all. And we are going to discuss this amongst ourselves. Please, I beg of you. I beg of you. I beg of you from the bottom of my heart. I don't care if you disagree with every word that I have ever said. I don't care if you think whatever it is that you think of me personally. Everybody that watches this, everybody that sees this, please do not let this type of poison go into your minds. Don't let this type of poison go into your hearts. Please don't. Please don't let this type of poison and negativity, this bad energy, go into your babies. Do not put your babies into that school if it ever comes out. He cannot be trusted. He cannot be trusted. I don't care if it's me or the president or your college teacher or Dr. Umar, whoever it is. Take what everybody says and then put it together in your own mind. Don't be convinced of toxic behavior. Don't be convinced of this toxic, destructive behavior, because this is the fast track to losing. If y'all think If you think that this is a coincidence that we have a man like Donald Trump in office, and we have a lot of white people out here emboldened to be racist and violent and destructive, and then we have this man, this so-called man, that's so-called the leader of Pan-Africanism, of RBG, doing vile, disgusting, destructive things like this, colorism, picking apart black men based upon their height, their worth based on their height. A black man's worth is based on his height. A black man's worth is based on his skin color. If you think this is a coincidence, it is not. It is absolutely, positively not a coincidence. They are trying to destroy us from the inside out. They are trying to destroy everything that we have ever believed from the inside out. Everything, every bit of momentum that we have gained within the last 50 years. Every single bit of momentum that we have gained, knowledge, resources, power, group economics, everything that we have gained, they are trying to rip it out of our hands and start us back at square one. You think it's a coincidence if you want to. There is nothing that's broadcast on this media that is unintentional. I'm going to go, y'all. And I'm going to start up another live, and we're going to have a separate conversation. Even if this never reaches Dr. Umar's eyes or ears, I hope that it does reach some of his followers, and you take a second to question and think about who it is that you are allowing into your heart, mind, and spirit. I guess I'll see you in a moment.